You got 3 today. What can you tell us about them?
I tell you what, we got guys we've got long guys, we got athletes, and then you got a guy in Siegel who's a year older than the average high school kid right now. So it's like been a redshirt year for him in his post grad at the Hun School. So a great group of guys that we got some physical, some athleticism, and a good mix of both.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering about that. How much is it going to help him, in what areas is it going to help him that he did the post grad year, and then he's also going to be enrolling early?
Totally, and it honestly probably jumps his development ahead a little bit. As a 19-year-old, just from growth. You know, guys cannot lift, and you're going to get bigger and stronger as you get older. But you got Grayson, who's an unbelievable athlete, played tight end all the way through high school until his last year and a half here, and then was a captain as an offensive tackle on state finalist team. So you got him. You got Levi Harber, who right now is ranked #1 in the state of Michigan as a heavyweight. Took second last year, took third as a sophomore. Really brings a physical presence, and you guys are going to have a treat with my man. I mean, he is some personality, and people think I like to chit-chat and talk a lot. My man can go. So we've got some personality in the group that I think is going to be a fresh and add to some really good guys in our room.
How did you see Grayson develop this season, considering it was his first year playing like just tackle because he was tight end last season?
Totally. Well, and it goes back to last spring. I mean, he was one of the first guys we offered. So you're able to track him, and in that relationship, mom and dad through the summer, he came over and was like, "Coach, yeah, I'm working out this summer. Yeah, I got no problem with him." Siegel, all those guys had no problem working out to earn, and they'd already either committed or had the offer, and they just wanted to work. They wanted to get better, and it's really hard to find nowadays, as you see in this world of what are you doing for me? All these guys, they love to work. They put their nose to the grindstone, and they're just excited to get here and help build something, which again is hard to find in 2021.
Someone like Levi, who has that wrestling background, what do you think that helps, for alignment?
Well, I think it gives you great body control. Where a guy like Grayson, who's a hooper and traveled around in AAU, he's going to have really good feet to play with probably higher athletic guys. Where you get Levi in the mix there as an inside guy, and he's got torque and body control. And, I say the Linderbaum and some of the best interior linemen are state wrestling heavyweight. They're all champions. It's something that you just learn how to control your body with your torso strength.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan. So
that's right. We talked about that before.
Watch some wrestling there.
One thing that stood out with all your guys is they all seemed like they played through the whistle and either wanted to drive their guys through the ground or out of the picture. That kind of stood out on film. How important was that in evaluating all those guys?
I think that's a huge part of evaluation. A lot of times you can watch a film. Nowadays with Huddle, you can watch the best 15 snaps of the year, which any good player is going to have. But it's hard to figure out how guys are wired and what makes them tick and how they're motivated. And you watch the tape, the one thing, and we do it in our room. Our pride points are on who's picking the ball carrier up, who's knocking guys down, who's doing it 5 yards downfield, who's recovering fumbles, who's tackling interceptions. If you've got to coach that, then it's not wired inside of a guy. Yeah. When you see it on tape, I just get to coach ball because that part's going to take over. And so I'm excited about that with all three, this whole group of guys.
They all played tackle at that level. Maybe it's a hard question for me to ask you till they get to campus, but where do you see each of those guys fitting on the line here?
And this is way early, but I see, Grayson and Siegel as tackles. I see Levi as an inside guy.
Yeah.
I like all inside guys through their career to learn how to snap. I think it increases their value for their time after Vanderbilt in the National Football League. But then the guys that are tackles, because as long as they got the feet out there, they can always move inside. And so there's a lot that goes into it, but I think you got 2 tackles and a really good inside guy. You're not going to say right, left. That all plays itself out. But getting Siegel here early is going to help his growth a little bit.
What's your program like for these kids? I know that they're not on your campus, maybe you get some early, but what do you tell them in terms of, we'd like you to do this in terms of lifting, eating, we'd like to report at this weight or whatever? What's that process look like?
Well, I think if you look at all of them right now, you see the same thing, long, lean athletes.
Yeah.
And when I say lean, they're anywhere from 270 to 290. Well, a lot of the guys playing in this league, you're going to be 305, 310, 315. Now, you got some of the big guys, but our weapon is still going to be your feet and agility and athleticism. And so that was an emphasis. That's Barton, Clark. We're all on the same page in what we're looking for. And I think that makes recruiting fun. As an O-line coach here, there's not 85 opinions on who to take. But we also, from a physical standpoint, you've got to show that. And that's what you see on tape, because when it comes to lifting, their diet, right now, I mean, they signed today. Tomorrow they get Horrigan's program. They've already started talking about, coach, here's my time I'm lifting, whether it's with their high school, it's in their classes. Siegel's here in 22 days. So his is about just kind of diet and make sure he's ready to get in there live with Coach Horrigan. But all those guys, as important of football as a piece to them in this college decision, they're excited to take on those next steps of diet, training, strength, and they're kind of greedy for it right now, which is fun.
Well, Grayson won't be here, I guess, in January, but he is just down the road. So how does that affect maybe what you guys, I'm not saying you guys can't legally coach him and all those things, but he can come and hang out with your players and everything. How big of a benefit is that?
I think it's huge. I went to my first college, it was 20 minutes from where I grew up. So you could go watch spring practice. You could be there and, I'm not watching it as a fan now or as a recruit. I'm watching it as, let me learn these drills. Let me learn these fundamentals. This is his coaching point verbally. So as they go back and train on the stuff that we're able to send them and let them start working on all their body movement stuff, I think that's where he gets an edge of being close. And, then he gets a relationship with Siegel, who's here in his class. Levi made it down to 3 games this year. It's an 8-hour drive. But that just, once again, those guys want to be around each other. And I think that's the first sign of a future that's really exciting.